Electronics at a reasonable level. Hello, everybody. I forgot. I forgot I pressed the button. It's a good thing that I was about to just have a conversation with you. You know, just hey, how's it going? How's life? How's everything? And here I am pressing buttons, and you're all here, and you could have seen some serious behind the scenes stuff, and I don't know what that actually would be.
Just a bunch of blabbering.
Just a bunch of blabbering nonsense. Like, I don't know what was with them. The first 5 minutes, they were having like a conversation or something. I don't know. Thank you so much for being here. Oh, you brought that stuff here again. Way to start the live stream out on a positive
I try and
note.
Open it, but
well, at least you
ahead
covered
of time.
it up with a what even is that? Let's show everybody. You have a can coat. Is that what that is?
It's a cozy, but it's
a
I've got a
can
collection
coat
of
cozy.
these. This one is a life vest,
And
and
mine
it keeps it nice and cold.
is way better. I have a
That's a monster.
Schaumburg Boomers
It's a monster.
thingy that we got last weekend. And it's just plain water, and it tastes
huge.
better. It is huge. It's heavy too. I mean, have you
And
held
it's
one of
top
these?
heavy.
Here, feel
Well, it's
that.
40 ounces. I remember seeing on the box.
But
It's 40 ounces.
even without the water in there, it's still a really heavy thing. It's definitely, you could definitely use 2 hands with that bad boy.
Anyways.
So, yeah. So anyway, thank you so much for being here. I can guarantee you this fine evening, I am going to be a mental mess because John from KG Tropicals and I, we just recorded more of the Tank Talk podcast episodes, and I have been once again talking all day long.
Oh boy.
So, and now here I am trying to function as a human being after I expended my brain. And I will tell you, I'm super excited about all 4 episodes of the Tank Talk podcast. They were really fun subjects, and each time I was like, I wonder if we're gonna have enough to say for like an hour. And one of them went 2 hours, and then all the other ones were like an hour. And I was like, all of a sudden an hour was over. Like, oh wow, we really dug deep into these topics. So
wow.
Hope you enjoy them. The Tank Talk podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts from. Check it out because they're going to be pretty fun. Speaking of which, videos that have come out last Sunday, I did a cool versus video. Check that bad boy out. On Monday, we had the Tank Talk podcast out, which was a lot of fun as well. Today, what did you do today? I didn't even get a chance to see because I was busy recording all day.
Well, I have a couple tanks that have the same light, but totally different algae games going on. And just did a little discussion on contributing factors.
A little
I just thought it was fun.
It is fun. And I know the tanks that you speak of because I see them every day in the kitchen.
Yes, I really love plant experiments. One of my favorite things to do is to put the hurt on a plant just to see like how much it can like handle, and just so you know what it does. It's just
so plant abuse is what you're into. Okay, it's better than
kind
kicking
of,
cats,
but you pull them through,
Yeah.
and then you just know. You
bring
can
them
do it.
bring them to the edge of existence. That's kind of like what you do with me. I mean,
Well,
is that now I'm starting to put it
That's why
all
I only
together.
feed you dinner once a week.
You bring me right to the edge of breakdown, and then you pull me back in with some light and some.
You're basically just a plant.
Wow.
You're a
some
plant.
Squirting fertilizer. Like, okay, you're going to be fine. Like, I don't feel fine. Squirt, squirt. All right, fine. I'm better now.
Come on back.
So, yep, that is what you did. Then prime timers. I probably won't have your video out until later in the week because I just realized I am going to be gone tomorrow and Friday. And so later in the week, I promise it'll be out. And then this Sunday, I've got a nice video already set, ready to go. It's going to be fun. Some things you shouldn't do in certain situations. So I hope you enjoy it. That's the land of videos. Land of where we're going to be. We are now, holy cow, I am in full Aquashella prep mode. And I mentioned this last week. The shelving unit is built. I still need to get the tanks. I need to do like a dry run setup. I've got the pump is here. The tubing is here. I've got to get more sponge filters seated because, well, it's partially seated because I'm going to put those in place of the ones that are fully seated that are running in the aquariums now. So I got to do a little switcheroo. I got to get that done tonight, if I remember, right after the live stream. That is the all-consuming thing right now because as you can imagine, there's a lot going on. We'll have all the merch there. We'll have the North Fin foods. We're going to have the fish. It's going to be, it's game on. We're going to be right next to the Carib Sea booth. So that'll be the easy one to see because it's the end cap. So we're actually right between API and Carib Sea. So we're end capped between those two large booths. So hopefully you'll stop by if you're going to Aquashella. By the way, who's going to check it out? Who's got their tickets ready to go for Chicago Aquashella happening?
Who's going?
You
How many
realize that's
people?
in a week and a half, right?
Oh yeah, I'm considering it more of like a week.
Yeah,
Because
it's
the
just not
Thursday,
registering with me.
like the Thursday before an Aquashella, just kind of to me seems like kind of like the start where people start setting up and
Yep. Yeah, so it's game on big time. So I'm looking forward to it. Tank Girl says, "Is that a new fish tank behind?" Nope, they're all the same. So everything is the same fish tanks. It does look, I don't know, maybe clearer than on video than it normally does, I suppose. Maybe, I don't know, but it's all there. GoPro says we're at the Schaumburg Convention Center, so Schaumburg, Illinois. It's going to be great. That's a nice facility too. It's very convenient. There's a hotel attached. There's parking garage. It's probably, I find it more convenient than Dallas, to be sure. And well, getting there because the hotel is attached. It's easier than Orlando, Daytona as well. So obviously we don't have the ocean, but you know, it's still cool. I like it. So let's see here. By the way, so what we're going to be doing tonight, we do have a giveaway. So before we get too far, and I mentioned last week, it was a giveaway of something that I knew that we were given that I got kind of misplaced. Now we've placed it. And it's sitting right there off screen in this quadrant right here. Not so much here or here, but right there. So that'll be a little bit later. We are going to be doing a Q&A. So if you've brought a lot of awesome questions, I hope you did, because that's why we're hanging out here. It's crazy. The summer semester is the only semester I don't want to go by quickly. I mean, I don't really wish for any of them to go by quickly, because I've learned a long time ago, don't wish your life away, because you're going to eventually get your wish. So that was deep and profound, right?
wow.
But the summers especially, I want those semesters to go as slow as possible. It's an 8-week semester, and next week we are in week number 8, which means the summer is surprisingly coming to an end, because by the time you get to August, if you've got kids, it's like, holy cow, they're going to be back in school. Our school system, I don't like it. They start, what is like the second week of August? I think that
no,
should
it's
be
mid. It's mid. It's like 15th, 16th, something like that, I think.
otherwise known as the second week of August.
Not this August. It's actually the 3rd week in August.
It's still halfway through August. Can we agree on that? High five. Okay, so I think it should be illegal. I think that kids should go back after Labor Day, and they should be off definitely before Memorial Day. So they should get the full June, July, and all of August off. And if anything, shorten up some of these institute days and all this stuff where they're, oh, I'm at home. It's February. Oh, great, you're in the house all day. So can we maybe figure that situation out? So Mitch says, my kids in Wisconsin start in September. That's the way it should be. That's the way it should be. Want to say thank you to Whip for being here, hanging out with us. Some of our
He said
wonderful moderators.
He's still working on those 16-hour days.
Yeah, I can
Keep strong.
totally
You're almost
see
there,
that.
Whip.
Second
All
floor
of
is hanging out too.
Illinois thanks you.
Yep.
Hi, second floor.
So what's up, everybody?
What's up? What's up?
All right. So, yeah. Anything else I wanted to say before we get into all the things? I don't think there was there, I thought there was something else I wanted to mention.
Something with a swap?
I don't know. No, the swap, yeah, that's in August. I think it's the 17th-ish, somewhere in there. It's 2 weeks after Aquashella, so Aquashella is the 3rd and 4th. So it must be the 17th? Yeah, that's true. That's a true story, I believe. GoPro says last night was horrible. Big storms, lost power for 30 minutes once today. All day rain. Yeah, we had those last week where there was 3 nights in a row where the storms rolled in around 9:30, 10 o'clock, were really, really loud, very, very severe. There were dozens of tornadoes in the northern Illinois area. And I'll tell you, after the 3rd night, you're like, I'm not getting much sleep, and you got to get up early in the morning. My students are all absolutely, you could tell this week because they had back-to-back assessments. They were absolutely exhausted. I'm like, guys, just one more week. Give me one more week of your brain power, and then take a couple weeks off. So, in the storms, we really start to learn how important it is to have redundant systems. And, if you've got fish tanks, the ability to have a battery powered air pump or a generator or something, because we have special considerations. Your filters go down, that can be a big problem. So tanks will hold temperature for quite some time, especially if it's warm outside, but it's the filtration that can be a pretty bad situation. Dave, thank you so much for the super chat. Really appreciate it. Long, stringy white poop in Mbuna, 1 of 9 not eating. If they're newer fish, I would definitely, or if they're newer fish, or some of the fish are newer, I would definitely hit them with the Paracleanse XPEL P combination. If they are eating, for the other 8, you could also get the levamisole infused or metronidazole infused flake food. That would also be really good. That's a little bit more efficient. But for the 1 of 9 that's not eating, then you've got your Paracleanse and XPEL P, and that is going to be same, like the metronidazole levamisole combination is what those two are. But that's what I would do. If it just started happening and there's not a lot of bloat or anything, or they're not super skinny, you have a little bit of time. It's probably not time to panic just yet, but I would definitely order up those meds if you're seeing that happening.
Stephen Thompson says, speaking of the boomers in baseball, did you see that Bill Murray now co-owns the Joliet Slammers?
We found that out a couple weeks ago.
That's
right?
So cool.
Yeah, we were talking to one of the fans at the Boomers game.
He should have co-owned the Boomers. I mean, really.
No, I'm good with the owners of the Boomers. I think they do an awesome job.
They're good, but I think
quality product out in the field.
Just having a Ghostbuster around every once in a while would be pretty cool.
Yeah, but I heard he's only been at that stadium like for opening day, and that was it. And I also heard he owns like 7 or 8 other minor league teams in various sports.
He's got a collection going.
It's not like he's exclusive. Like, I was a huge Boomers fan when I was in Chicago, so I had to buy them.
He talks like he's from California.
Yeah, sometimes he does. Yep. Mitch says, I haven't been running heaters in my tanks in Wisconsin. Won't start until October or so. Yeah, I mean, if you're someone who likes to leave the windows open, Wisconsin doesn't get quite as hot as it does in the Chicagoland area. I mean, a few degrees cooler usually. But yeah, if you're keeping your house a little toasty, why bother?
MNC Aquatics says that I'm setting up a plant farm tank with a twist, trying different house plants to see what will grow underwater and what won't. That's a lot of my little experiments.
That's interesting.
Isn't
a lot of the
fun?
Most plants won't, because the science behind the reason why most plants will not grow is if you fully submerge the roots in water, they rot. Mm-hmm. And 2, even if that doesn't happen, the gas exchange that happens at the leaf, it doesn't have the proper pressure to release the oxygen and take in this. There's not enough CO2 in the water. So most of the time it's going to fail, but I'd be interested to hear if you have any luck. I will say, can I say one thing before you pipe in? Because I know you want to talk about stuff. Pothos. In the times where my pothos has accidentally fallen in the aquarium, if it's really close to the surface, I'm not saying it necessarily grows very well, but it certainly doesn't die. And I'm not saying to do that because it can be poisonous to some fish if they eat it, but I've noticed that with the pothos.
Well, there's a lot of plants that did really well immersed that I wouldn't have just immediately thought, like, hey, those will do really great. But a lot of them are from the garden center, because I did a video like way back when. The darndest plants that you can find at the garden center that can do very well in a pond. And then even like microsword, that's why I love microsword, is it grows really nicely immersed. It looks really cool. Nice little grassy texture.
Wet Sleeves do want to say thank you so much for gifting the 5 Primetime Aquatics memberships. We've got 5 new Primetimers here because of you. Hopefully they appreciate it. I certainly do. Thank you so much for doing that. That was awesome.
That's a great name, by the way.
I do think that is a great name.
Uncle Smiley's Aquariums.
Oh, that's a great name too. I thought you were going to talk
and
about
of course,
Wet Sleeves.
We all know Wet Sleeves is really fun name.
Mr. Juan says, hello, can you please make a video on the fork-tail rainbow fish or the Paskai blue eye? Yes, I can, and I will.
I'll second that.
Both of those are in the works because we frequently have rainbows, smaller rainbows, the pseudomogils in the fish room. So that is definitely on the list. And I have tons and tons of B-roll still left over from Aquashella Orlando of last fall. And I have the fricatas, and I have the,
Oh,
what else is the other one?
so that would have been Daytona Beach last year.
Yeah.
Not Orlando.
Whatever,
Right.
Florida. So remember, talking for like 8 hours today already. I'm a little
Fried.
I'm a little fried. What's the other one? The fricata and the Selby's rainbow. So I have those already kind of in the hopper, ready to go, which will be happening in sometime in the next couple months. Well, here's a good one for you. Mitch says, any suggestions for pond plants that I can plant in the water or halfway out of the water?
I like microsword. But how big of a pond are we talking? Because the ones that what are the names of the ones that I had? Remember when I
Oh, I
had
have
the,
no idea. You were floating
I've-
those things. There's a million.
I've
So-
actually got one. They're two of the same plant that's out back that I got it, but I can never remember the name of it. It's a grassy. Oh my gosh, what is it? I have to talk because
Well,
I can't
it
think of the
doesn't-
names right off the
go
top
to
of my head.
Go to the Smallscape. You did a number of videos on pond plants. These are a couple years old, but if you go there, you listed. There was at least 2 videos on pond plants. So if you type in pond plants, the Smallscape, you're going to get some suggestions. I personally think that the bamboo looks pretty cool. Anubias can grow, so that, especially outside, I think it would do better outside than it does when it's growing up to an aquarium, like kind of getting fried there. So both of those are definitely possible. Marvin says, do Lelupi cichlids eat snails? Most cichlids eat snails. I'm not saying they're going to eat them right away, but yeah, I never have any snails in any of my Tanganyikan tanks. And I've had Lelupi tanks exclusively. There were no snails there. The 125 behind Joanna's, on the side of Joanna's head over there, no snails. Any of my shell dweller tanks, there's not a single live snail to be found. So they might not go out of their way to eat the snails if there is plenty of food, but a lot of my Lake Tanganyikan tanks, there's a decent amount of food competition, and so they start hunting the snails when they're bored and when they're hungry. Small Fish says, what plants should I use for my hang-on back plant holder? If your goal is just to reduce nitrate, then pothos is probably your best option because it's going to grow really fast and it's optimized to grow in the atmosphere. So that's what I would do, and it's easy to find, easy to grow. What's cool is it will eventually attach to, in some cases, your wall and start growing up the side. And it grows pretty fast, and so it's probably one of the better ones when it comes to reducing nitrate, which is typically what you want to do. And it doesn't need a ton of light. So if you're not planning to put like lights directly over that, that could help.
I think I linked
Oh,
the
good.
video. At least that
Cool.
was my intention.
Nice job. Yeah, it's right there. You are like all,
Like I said, I don't know
High
if that's where
tech.
it leads. It probably leads to some other weird video.
it's probably not even our videos. Yeah, it's
Like
probably some random.
how to glitter crafts. I'm
You
like,
just
huh?
got rickrolled.
Oh my gosh, I just found out what that is like a matter of weeks ago. It's funny.
It
I
is
like
funny.
it.
Yeah. Cody, thank you so much for the super chat. Did you guys watch Shark Week this year? If so, what did you think? Shark Week is one of my highlights of my summer.
I thought it's in August.
It doesn't matter. I miss it every single year. I see highlights on various channels, but I never get to see it. I don't. Well, for the first of all, the longest time we didn't have any cable channels whatsoever, and now we've got one of these apps that gives us some channels, but I don't even know. Does Shark Week come on Animal Planet?
I don't know.
I don't think we have Animal Planet in our little bundle of online whatever that is. So
I usually set up like a little ode to Shark Week on the
Yeah.
microwave with little like shark tchotchkes, like a little stuffed animal, and then I got a shark monster truck. So it's usually a little
Yeah,
vignette for in honor of it, but I didn't even do that this year.
oh my gosh, GoPro says the Rickroll video has a B on views, 1 billion. That
A
can't be true.
billion?
Look it up. Look up the.
What do I look up?
Just look up the Rickroll video and see how
Rick
many. I mean, I believe you.
Roll.
It's just like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. I don't know if I've ever seen a video that has 1 billion views. That would be
Yes.
insane. Does it really? Let me see. What does it look
Rick
like? When it says-
Astley, 1.5 billion. Can you see that?
What?
I loved Rick Astley back in my day, so you know
What?
what? Rock
Hold on.
on to him.
Oh, it's not going to
It
focus.
won't.
1.5 billion with a B. Holy cow. That was a horrible song.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was. It was a horrible song back in the day. It was. I'm sorry. No, yeah, that's terrible.
be
That's
able to
why.
dance, too.
That's why it's a joke. That's why people rickroll people, because they know it's a horrible song. They wouldn't do it to something like everybody loved and adored, like, hey, let's go ahead and I don't even know.
Sorry.
Yeah.
You can say whatever you want, but I
Like
like
Thriller or
Rick
something.
Astley.
That was like the popular one. Like no one's like, hey, I thrillered you, and it's like, okay, well that was
I
kind of an
thrillered
enjoyable
you.
thing. It wasn't being rickrolled. You're like, oh man, turn it off. Anna, thank you so much for the awesome comment here. I have 8 chili rasboras. One of them is getting skinnier, and some days it looks like it is struggling not to sink, swimming at 45-degree angle. Any ideas on how to treat it? I just use Paracleanse. This is going to sound, I don't mean it to sound uncaring. There's probably not much you're going to be able to do with it. I'd probably get it out of the tank. You can continue to treat the other fish with the Paracleanse, but without question, without fail, every time I've had a fish do that kind of jerking, swimming like this, they always die. And trust me, I've brought in thousands of chili rasboras, thousands of dwarfs, thousands of miras, CPDs, emerald dwarfs, and without fail, every single time those fish do that, and that is with treating. By the time they get to that point, I have never been able to turn them around. And so what I try to do at that point is get them out, treat the rest of the fish that are not showing signs or symptoms, make sure they've got their 4 weeks, make sure that they're looking good, and try to limit if there was anything associated with some of those fish that doesn't spread to anybody else.
And it's, Oink Master is not here tonight, so any of our other mods, don't worry about it. There's no have tos here,
Yeah.
and I'm here. So if you can't link a video or somebody wants a video, don't even worry about it.
Chris, thank you so much. I know you don't plan to bring Maltese to Aquashella, but would it be possible to request 6? I actually might. I may bring some Maltese to Aquashella. So because that tank I'm looking at, I'm like, yeah, I should probably, I might bring a couple dozen. So there's a good chance they're going to be there. Just because, why not?
With little Aquashella t-shirts?
With the Aquashella special. So send me an email a couple days before, preferably like next Thursday, and just remind me, like, hey man, are you going to bring the Maltese? Just so that I kind of have them written down. It's a little different this time because we're not pre-bagging anything because it's Aquashella. We can't have stuff sitting in a bag for days on end. And so we're just going to go ahead, and we've got buckets that we're going to be scooping fish out, and then we'll have the buckets and just right into the tanks they go. So we'll match the number of buckets to the number of tanks we have. And there will be multiple types of fish in each tank. So we have a system that's going to be hopefully very efficient. So I'll just add the Maltese to my list of where do they go.
Superstars.
Yeah. Yep.
And Whip says he's driving, and there's no sorry for driving, Whip. Just drive, relax.
Unless, of course, you're driving really poorly, and then you've got a lot of apologies, but not to us or this community. You'll have to apologize to the people that you're running off the road because you're tired and worked a long day. Planted Tank says, have I kept red pencilfish? I guess you could call it that. I've brought them in a couple times and kept them for
Briefly?
a little while until they basically all died on me. So I tried it twice, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing it anymore, just because
They're so
where
cool,
they
too.
come from, it just seems like they must be bred and kept in soft water and probably acidic water, and then they just really hate what I do to them, and that is bring them in and be like, here you go, here's Chicago water. And that's just what I do. So if I know fish aren't going to survive that way, I stop. But they're really cool. And I'd probably have better luck if I did RO and remineralized. And then the problem would be the people who I sell them to, and that's not what I'm going to do. And Lynn says, I am here. What's up? Glad you're here hanging out with us. Thanks for being here, Blue Wrench Lady. That's the nickname.
ZX9, do you use RO for neons? Nope.
No, nothing. Every fish that you see in our fish room, every fish that we bring in is all Chicago water. Absolutely, positively, nothing special about it. No RO, no remineralizing, no adding anything. It's just boom, here's our tap water. Enjoy.
Right, but we don't keep all the neons.
Yeah, we do. What haven't we kept? What haven't I brought in? I've brought in every single type of neon that I know
When
of.
was the last time that we kept cardinals?
We literally just had the cardinals in that 20 gallon right there. I brought in 500, lost a total of 2.
Really?
Yes.
I thought they were standards. Sorry. I'm sorry. They're very similar to me, especially
They're
when I'm
at
not
all
like
similar.
looking at them.
Looking at them.
Yeah, the only ones that I only
Yeah,
stare at
no,
certain
yeah,
ones.
the Cardinals were just in probably 6 months ago, and probably need to get those in again because I have a source.
Hot sellers.
Yeah, they did a good job. Mitch, thank you so much for the super chat. Midwest will be cold soon. Ride that motorcycle. No, dude. I ride until probably the first or second week of December. I have a full fairing Harley, so it's an ultra limited. That means I've got the lower leg fairings, I've got heated grips, I've got the windshield. As long as there isn't snow on the ground or ice, and it is roughly in the upper 30s, I'm very comfortable. I mean, I'll wear jeans, I'll wear like my long pants under my jeans, t-shirt, sweatshirt, my leather, full face helmet. I'm seriously very comfortable. It's not like, oh, I'm cold and I'll just tough it up. I would prefer riding at 40 degrees over riding at 90 degrees any day of the week. So
It's dumb.
it's not dumb, man. Riding at
I
90
find
degrees or above, you're all sweaty, and then if you have to
but
stop, if
You
bike
get a
is
breeze at least, and
heat.
it's like par for
Yeah,
the course.
hot
It's like
breeze.
summer as opposed to winter.
No, that's not winter. Winter is like in the 20s and stuff. We're like, all right, there could be ice. Then I'm done. Once there could be ice from like the night before or snow, I'm not doing that. It's
Mitch
not
says
worth it.
you're a madman. Yes, he is. He is a madman.
I'm a madman. All right, let me see here. Susan says, I have 4 tanks. Why do some plants grow well in one tank and not in others? Same water, same chemicals. Could it be different substrate? Could there be a different bioload maybe where you've got other fish in the tanks that are growing well? They produce more waste, more urea. Maybe it's different substrate. Could be. If there's any differences in the lighting, that could make a difference as well, whether it's duration, intensity, different brand of light, which would mean possibly a different light spectrum. Possibly. Is the doom? We are going to Aquashella. It's my first time in Chicago. We want to check out some local fish stores while in town. Is there any you recommend?
Yes.
Yes, there are. Okay. Unfortunately, none of these are going to be super close to the Schaumburg area, but I like them. Fish Planet in Deerfield, in my opinion, is a very, very solid choice. So Fish Planet in Deerfield, Zuze, and I guess that would be South Elgin.
Yes.
Zuze, it's spelled Zooxae.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was just catching
I don't know
up.
how to spell a lot of things, but for some reason,
My
I can
first-
spell things like Zuze and Bacillus stereothermophilus. I can spell that all day
My
too.
first reflex is to correct his spelling
It's
just because,
not
you know,
unfounded. It's not. Yeah, I give
can
her
I
full
say?
credit for being. She's got my back when it comes to
I
misspellings.
try.
I'm very lenient with my students. They ask me on exams, the spelling count. I'm like, you better get it close enough so that I know you understood the concept. That's more important to me than did you spell Bacillus stereothermophilus properly. Okay. And half of them spell it wrong. But that's okay. So, Fish Planet, Zuze, Aquatics is pretty decent in Lombard.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anywhere else that I can think of off the top of my head where I'm like,
Those would be the top 3.
those are probably, and none of them are huge. They're not big like, oh my gosh, this is overwhelming, but they're solid.
I
They're
think the
solid.
best fish stores are small. They're little gems.
I don't know. Size of the fish store does not really impact my opinion of a fish store because I've seen some really big ones that are done very horribly. I've seen some small ones that are really great. Oh my gosh. Planet Jason, when are you cutting your beard? Dude, I literally just did that yesterday. So I know it's a little frizzy. All right, so behind the scenes, I took a shower 15 minutes before I went live. So you're getting the after shower frizz, but I just trimmed it yesterday. So yesterday was your answer.
Chris Smith says my English bulldog is heavily invested in this live stream.
That's
The
good.
looks she's giving look like she's trying to be the best fish keeper ever, and all info she's hearing is mind blowing to her.
You know, I try to speak at the level the average dog can understand.
Right. Well, you know, his furry daughter is an English
goobs?
bulldog,
Yeah,
the
the-
Goobs, Gooby, and I can just picture that look because
Yeah.
you know she does. Although I think she's
Concentrates.
probably like half Boston because she's
Oh,
definitely
she's
not
definitely half
purebred.
something. Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
she is, but that's so cute. So, hi,
So-
the little English bulldog, so cute.
Ahmed, thank you so much for the super chat. Listening to it while changing water for my newborn baby Bettas. By the way, it's
Aw.
9:30 p.m. here in Stafford, Virginia.
Well,
I'm glad you're here hanging out with us, and I hope your
Nice.
newborn baby Bettas are doing great. That's always exciting. I've never had a batch of Bettas. We've had Bettas
Never
do
have.
the bubble nests and do all the stuff, but we never
Never.
actually had them
never babies.
make the babies, as they say.
No, that'd be so cute.
Cliff, thank you very much for the super chat. One of my dwarf neon rainbow fish has torn up fins and its mouth is always open and its gills are flared open. Any advice would help. Yeah, there's definitely, I wonder if it got into a fight. Well, I mean, torn fins would kind of assume that. Do you have any cichlids in that tank? You don't have to leave another super chat, but I'd be curious to know, because the mouth is always open and the gears are flared open, I wonder if it has... Could it have a broken jaw? And did it get into a fight with another fish? And the reason why I say cichlids is because often when cichlids fight with each other or other fish, they'll lock mouths and they'll whip each other around the tank. And I could see if a rainbow fish got into some kind of a fight like that, I could see that happening. The open mouth thing and the gills flared open, yeah, that's probably not a great sign. Is the fish still eating the torn up fins? But that makes me think that's definitely an injury and probably from fighting, although I guess it's not guaranteed, but seems like it would be. Oh my gosh, desert fish. This, I'm telling you, desert fish, this has got to be really close. I should see if I can go back and check. Celebrating 44 months of being a prime timer. We're going
Wow.
to have to figure something out, like something to do for people when they hit 5 years. That's a special thing.
Yes.
And desert fish is on the way to 4 years. Got your rockers. I've been working out of town the last 11 months, but now I'm home and hope to get them out to you next 2 weeks.
Cool.
Very cool. Thank you. Thank
Can't
you very
wait.
much.
How nice.
Wow, man.
That's a long
44
time.
months.
That's a long time.
That's because I'm trying to think of when we did the prime timers at first, and it's got to be you got to be one of the original crew. I'm thinking. All right, let me see what's going on here. Goat Pro says, "What is your favorite fish you have ever kept?" Ooh, for me, probably the Geophagus altifrons I lost when I did the species profile. That was probably my all-time favorite fish.
Yeah.
My tilapia, Timmy, the Nile tilapia would be up there very, very close, as would Chaz, my Oscar. So those are definitely my three.
What about Roger and Ruby?
Yeah, I like them.
They're so
I
sweet.
didn't bond with
Little-
them the way that I bond with the other fish.
Yeah.
Probably because Roger was intensely mean, even though his own babies killed him. Because I don't know if you know this, but like the Midas and the red devils, we had the Midas cichlids. The babies will eat from the mucus secretions of the adults like discus do, and all the 800 babies were just eating, and he just like wore himself down. I removed him, and then tried to separate the babies from the parents, but it was too late. It was the oddest thing.
Yeah. Uncool.
Look at this. Love this. Lynn, yep. You're OG too. 46 months. Please bring tubs of community flakes to Aquashella. Got it covered. In fact, if you were to go into our living room right now, I just got a big old delivery of Northfin, and the tubs are what I ordered and I've got it all. So don't you worry. We'll be bringing all the Northfin. We'll bring the tubs, the smaller ones. We've got all kinds of pellets and all kinds of whatnot. Northfin sent us some sample packs that we got to figure out how we're going to do that.
Yeah.
But there'll definitely be some incentives there in the booth to partake in the old party of fish and merch and all that stuff, because there's going to be a lot there. It's going to be awesome. Dave, thank you so much for the super chat. How was the DQ last week? Who won the foot race? We didn't get to go. last week to
We didn't
the
go.
old Dairy Queen.
We didn't
because
go.
I looked at Joanna and she's like, "Were you serious about Dairy Queen?" I was kind of like, She's like, "I'm going to bed. I'm super tired."
I was. As soon as we got off live stream, I took out the dogs, and then all of a sudden I'm like,
She totally,
so tired. But I was like
chickened
so
out.
bummed. I was bummed, and
totally
I felt
chickened
like
out.
just like I lost out.
You felt like, I felt like you were a loser.
I would take offense to that, other than the fact that I agree. I also felt like a loser.
I felt like you felt like
But
you were probably a loser.
You know what?
that
You
night.
didn't push me to go, so that makes you a loser as well.
No, that just makes me not a pusher.
There's nothing wrong
Wait.
with pushing somebody to have
Wait.
ice cream.
I
Am I right?
because I'm a pusher. That's why I pushed my husband into law school. That was a mistake. Movie?
I know. I'm
Oh,
thinking.
don't say it.
yeah,
Somebody
you
here's going
always
to get
say
Whip's
that.
driving. So Whip, don't
Yeah.
type and drive. But I pushed my husband in law school. That was a mistake. And now I'm going to push you. I know how you can make up that extra credit. Oh, Stephen P. 2003 is here. What's up, dude? You got it right. Mean Girls. Yeah, I just quoted Mean Girls on national TV. Well,
Yeah, but
not
who
really.
said it?
Who said it?
Wait. Say the line again.
Now I'm going to push you. I pushed my husband into law school. That was a
Oh,
mistake.
yeah.
Yep,
Flair
yep.
with
Love
Oliver
it,
Flair.
love it. Evan's got
Okay.
it.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Blake says, I feel dumb not remembering what kind of dogs you have, but what kind of dogs do you have? I feel dumb too when I don't remember what kind of dogs I have. We have Gooby. She's the.
Gracie. We
her
call
name
her
is
Gooby.
Yeah, she's the
Yeah.
Goobs.
The Goobs.
She's generally a smelly dog, and she doesn't
She's
look
sweet.
the best, but she's got a lot of brains, so it's kind of strange. And so
She's-
was sold to us as an English bulldog, which we are absolutely convinced half English, half Boston.
Yeah.
And then we have Rocky, and Rocky is an American bulldog. He's
Mm-hmm.
a big boy, but he's dumb as a box of rocks.
He
But
kind of is.
he's a beautiful dog.
And
so
he's
they're
sweet.
opposite.
He's
and
like-
he's very sweet. Yeah.
He could, if you want to get to his heart, you just give him snuggles, and he just loves it.
Yeah.
Gracie's like,
Don't
do you have
touch
any
me."
food? You don't need to snuggle me. I don't need any snuggles. Do you have any food?
Yeah. Pretty much.
So that's
Yeah.
more info than you really wanted.
Yeah, absolutely. So those are our dogs. They are crazy.
But they're a great brother and sister.
They are. They hang
They
out,
really they fight, like play fight. They love it, and then they just
collapse
it's
on top of one another.
basically time to take a nap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Rocky, being a much larger dog, has always been super patient with her. Like very, very patient. Because when she was a puppy, she'd bite on his jaws and
Yeah, she'd
do all,
hang on him
jump
and
on him.
stuff.
And he was just kind of like, oh my gosh, this dog is very annoying, but whatever. So, yeah. Louise says, what kind of light would be good for a floating water sprite in Java Fern? It almost doesn't matter.
No.
Java Fern's low light. The water sprite is not particularly demanding. It depends on your price point. How much do you want to spend? What do you want the fish to look like? What do you want the environment to look like? I would say and this is just generally true of any lights. My ideal light is one where I can control the light duration and the light intensity and the spectrum of light. So like all these lights behind me cover all that. Now these are high-end lights, right? These are the aqua illumination. We've got the blades on the 125s and 75. These are the AI primes I keep saying I need to do a review of. I'm going to do that probably in the next, 4 weeks or so, but I keep saying that, so don't hold your breath. But it's going to get done because I love these lights. They're my favorite. But you can control light spectrum, light intensity, light duration, all those things. But you have lights that are less expensive where you have some ability to control at least the light intensity. So the Hygger lights on probably the low price spectrum are pretty good. Obviously these aqua illuminations, the Fluvals do a good job of being able to control those things, but you don't have to spend a lot of money for those plants. In fact, most of the standard plants, your Nubius, your Crips, your Java Ferns, Java Moss, sword plants, you really don't need very intense lights.
Whoop says, remember that time I could be a member for 44 months? Yeah, good times.
I still think
in
that's
our hearts,
funny.
in our hearts, you are.
I don't even know what happened. Like somehow he lost his Google account or something, and he was like, he's one of the OGs too. He was one of the originals, and something happened where all of a sudden I see it come back through again. He's like, Whip has been a member for 1 month. I'm like, he's been here for like 2 years at that point. And it was because something happened with his Google thing, and it was actually kind of funny.
Oink is here. Hi,
What's up?
everyone. I'm here with you. Bear with me. I'm just pulling in from working at my house.
Glad you're here.
Welcome.
Very glad you're here.
Yay.
Planted Tank, because of your last episode on the Tank Talk podcast, I went and bought 5 pour Bettas and 5-gallon tank, half price too. Now I have a stand with 5 Bettas. Yeah, what were we talking about there where that came up about the good and the bad of rescuing Bettas? I think John and I were talking about that at one point. And I know you and I have talked about it too.
Yeah.
ZX9R, 85 likes, 203 watching. In other words, ZX9R is like, yo, man, punch that like button right in the throat, right in the esophagus. ZX9R, huh? Let me tell you a story about the ZX9R. Back in the 1990s, back when I was a youngster in the 1990s, I had a 93 FCR 1000. It was lowered about an inch off the ground. I stretched it 12 inches, everything with chrome frame, chrome swing arm, chrome triple tree, chrome rims. Went up 3 in the back, 2 down in the front, stage 3, Vance and Hines race cone. I mean, this bike was awesome. Back in those days, it was running a real around 10-second quarter mile, not like the bragging 10-second quarter mile. And that's all we did, is every weekend there was a group of like 50 of us. I don't know how I lived through that time period of my life. We'd run from Naperville down to the city of Chicago and back, going way faster than you ever thought possible. And somehow, some way, everybody always stayed alive in those runs. Dumb idea, don't ever do it. But then we would race quarter mile. There was a place way out in the cornfields where we marked it out. We said, okay, here's the starting line, 3 light posts down, that's a quarter mile. And we would just run till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And then the cops would show up and say, hey guys, you got to wrap this up. You got to be done. And then we would just go home. And we never got in any trouble. They didn't really care all that much. We were respectful. We didn't do too many stupid things. But the whole point is there was a ZX9R that was, the guy put in, what did he do to that thing? At the time, correct me if I'm wrong, there was the ZX1000 at that time, or was it might have been the 1100 at that time, and he crammed that engine into the 900 frame, and then he put nitrous in it. And I remember he only had one fairing on one half of it because he crashed the bike at one point, cracked the fairing. And when he would take off, I could beat him. But when he would spray, I was done. He'd be gone. And it would just be like, you see this little puff, and then it would be him passing me by. So, yes, the fond memories of my race days. It was good stuff. Finsanity, thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate it. Speaking of rescue, I will be at Ohio Fish Rescue Saturday morning for a bunch of koi they put up today. Oh, I think I saw that post. That's cool. Those were pretty nice looking fish. So that'll be awesome. They were pretty decent size, weren't they, from what I can remember? Nice. What? Dave says, glitch on Petco website. Got 475 gallons for under $70 each last week? Oops. Somebody pressed the wrong button somewhere on the website, and you happen to take advantage of it. Nice job. Very cool. That is one heck of a price. I mean, even back in the day, they would do the $1 per gallon, but now I think it's like the 50% off thing. They don't even do the $1 per gallon anymore. Do you have anything you'd like to? Did you see anything, or what are you? You're investigating?
I'm investigating.
Okay. We'll let you investigate for a little while longer because I thought you were going to say something. Planet Tank, thank you so much for the super chat. The last podcast was about Petco and PetSmart. Sorry, I didn't put this in my original comment. Well, no, that's okay. I just forgot. I forgot already. It came out 2 days ago. Yeah, the Petco and PetSmart are the big box stores ruining the hobby. That's the kind of stuff we do on the Tank Talk podcast. We have these conversations about cool stuff like that. And if you haven't checked it out, definitely do it. Frogs and fish. Hey there, first time watching live, but I watch all your videos. Well, we really appreciate it. Thank you for doing that. That is a wonderful way to help support our channel, is just watch the videos. Watch the videos, share them when you can on Facebook or whatever groups you're part of or social media. That really helps a lot.
Noelle is here too.
What's
wow,
up? What's up?
Yay! The
We
whole
got
gang's here.
All the crew
Welcome,
is showing up.
welcome.
We need to do the giveaway. Can we do that? What do you think, everybody? Should we do the giveaway? Let's go ahead. Let's fix all of our electronics. Make sure we're on all messages, just so that we've got that
all
going.
messages.
Holy cow, let me this other screen catch up for a second. It takes a minute. And let me make sure that we are there. Okay, so I mentioned last week that we found something that we were given that we were supposed to give away. This was a while back, and then we gave some of it away, and then we had all this moving around stuff to do, and we kind of got it lost, and then we found it. It was lost, but now it's found. And so this is pretty cool, and it might not be for everybody, but for people who actually love this sort of thing, you're going to love this sort of thing. So check this out. I thought this was cool. Hopefully I didn't oversell it, but
I don't think
this
so.
This is artwork done by Sam Scales. So if you haven't seen his stuff, go to Sam Scales. I believe it's samscales.com. SCALZ. He's an artist. He's at all the Aquashellas, a lot of the events like the Keystone Clash type stuff. He's awesome. And he's got really cool art, and he basically gave us a couple pieces of art to give away to you. And this was one of them. This is really cool. And I'm not going to lie, I was super tempted to just be like, you know what? I wonder if I should just hang this in the back, and then, it would, I didn't give it away, but no, I'm kidding. This is really cool. And the rainbow fish have grown on me quite a bit. You've got the dwarf rainbow fish here. This looks like maybe a kurumoy on the bottom, but this is a really cool thing. It's already got the border or whatever. What do you call this part here?
The mat.
Thank you. It's already matted. You just have to come up with a frame. And so this is the thing that we are giving away this fine evening. Now, to win said framed art, or not framed art, but matted art, I suppose, a couple things you're going to have to do. So, first thing here is you're going to, now don't start typing yet, because there's two things, and if you start typing now, you're going to miss the rest of the instructions, okay? So the first thing is you're going to be picking a number between 60 and 70, but don't type. You also have to tell me in that same thing, so you're going to pick the number, but you also have to tell me which fish won last Sunday go. So in my comparison, I actually picked a clear winner last Sunday. Which one was it? Between 60 and 70. Done. We're done.
Really?
Yeah. We are done.
Yep.
You got this?
Mm-hmm. Wait.
This-
No, that's not right.
Yeah, it is. Oh, wait, no, it's not. Wait, are we done then? Yes, we are done. Sorry, we're done.
Which one do you?
Yeah.
Yes.
There we go. Sorry, we were done, but then we were double done. Now we're totally doubly done. Don't worry, it didn't prevent you from winning, because the done happened relatively quickly. Okay, so would you care to reveal the number? The number is 66, and the winner of this week's video was the black neon. I compared the black neon versus the standard neon, and that means you, Betta Aquatics. You have won the whole situation. Now, what we need you to do, please, is email us at primetimegiveaway.
Singular, but we may have the address from last month.
Email anyway, because I don't want to have to try to look for stuff. So
Okay.
primetimegiveaway@yahoo.com. Give us your information, and we will send this out to you. But, a lot of people I like this. Thank you for being so loyal, because a lot of people
look at all
had the right answers, or pretty darn close. And I think that's pretty awesome. So thank you for that, for watching the videos and doing all that. And don't worry, we do a lot of giveaways, right? Almost every single week now we're trying to do some type of a giveaway, because we've got some stuff piling up in some boxes. So we do the best that we can. But anyway, thanks for playing along. And by the way, if you did ask a question before everybody started typing in numbers,
Ask it again.
can you please ask it again? Because it gets buried, and we can only scroll so far up. I got that one. Only we says, yeah, it's Melania Parva from Lake Kurumoy. Thank you for confirming that. I thought that's what it was because we have some in a 40. We got a bunch of them that are going. By the way, this fish is going to Aquashella. So we will have these available at Aquashella. We have the Kurumoy, and I think we have the Dortii.
The actual fish, not the picture.
Paskai, but I think they're Luminatus, at least from what some people have said. So I'm going to double check that. And then we've got the threadfin rainbows that are going. So we're going to have both big and small rainbow fish at Aquashella coming up here week after next. So in a week and a half.
Woohoo!
Frogs and Fish says, looking forward. Oop, where'd it go? Looking forward to meeting you at Aquashella. We will be there with Flip Aquatics. Oh, that's cool.
Cool.
Very nice. Yep. Flip Aquatics is in charge of the media booth again, which is really nice because he, back in the day when he was in charge of that, did an awesome job. So I don't know what they've got going on there because we're not part of the media lounge this time because we have our own booth, but I am sure his group is fantastic. I am sure they're going to come up with lots of fun things to do. So
oh, yeah.
I will definitely be stopping by there. It figures the one time that, I mean, we have always been part of that booth, and the one time we're not, they're bringing the heavy hitters out there to have some activities.
Not going to lie, kind of bummed.
All of a sudden, I'm doing all the fish stuff by myself. Like, where is everybody?
Right.
Hanging out at the media lounge. Mm-hmm.
We're with the cool kids.
Bougie says, had a surprise stir-by show up in my rice fish tank. Little guy must have hitched a ride as an egg on a plant when I did some rearranging. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
That is cool.
That's happened to us.
Little baby Cory cats
Get a little surprise.
Always exciting because they're little miniatures.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
I've never actually seen, like, I think we had them at some point, but for some reason I was like, oh, I'll look at them later or something. I don't know what happened. I've never actually seen them.
Well, I know what happened because it was devastating. We had all these Cory cats. I put them in a breeder box, and the breeder box is the type that sucks water in from the tank. It circulates through and then goes out. And I forgot to put the mesh part back up, and all those fish wound up back into the 29-gallon where there was some apistos, some angelfish, and some other fish that were like, thanks for the snack. Cheryl says the parva would look great in my Wanamensis, Dortii, Bosmani, turquoise ring. Oh yeah. So sad we won't make Aquashella. Yep, that is definitely a potentially really cool combination because you've got a lot of rainbow fish there with different colors. The Dortii are very, very cool fish.
Michelle wants to know suggestions for a different centerpiece fish for a 20 tall with neons. Maybe Apisto borellii. Already have honey gourami in my 29.
Yeah, so yeah, I think any type of Apisto, if you want to do a pair, if you just want to do a male because you don't want to run into any breeding issues, any of the Apistos would work fine. I don't know what you're keeping that tank at, but the German blue ram and the varieties, so your electric yellows, electric blues, long fin, short fin, the standard German blues. But again, you got to raise those temps up into at least 82 to 84 would be nice. Which your neons, they can handle that. That's fine. Crebensis would be a cool option. Checkerboard cichlids would be a pretty sweet option.
Love checkerboards.
Yeah. Nanochromis, that was the one that we had in your 20, right?
Yeah.
So
those are pretty too.
Nanacara anomala is another really interesting one. It's like a miniature version of an electric blue acara. Those can get a little feisty with one another, so that would definitely be one where I'm just going to put one in that tank. But they're very small electric blue type of fish, almost with a little bit of yellow in them as well. Those would all be cool. Cody says, regarding my dwarf rainbow fish, I do not have any cichlids in the tank. Tetras, rasboras, cories, other rainbows. Rainbow shark. My guess, there's your culprit right there. The rainbow shark. I don't want to place blame. I don't want to make any assumptions, but that rainbow shark can be an absolute bruiser. I wouldn't doubt that maybe that rainbow shark is being a little bossy. Then he says, how do I get rid of algae? I have done everything. Have you though? Have you? Have you really done everything? Like for instance, did you dress up in a clown suit, walk down by your tank and go, boo, 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 boo? Did you? Because if you didn't do everything, if you didn't do that, you didn't do everything. Okay, that's probably not going to work.
Probably not.
First of all, I did a video on aquarium algae. Just type in aquarium algae primetime aquatics into YouTube. It'll come up because there I go through all the types of algae and how to get rid of each specific type. However, regardless of the type, there are certain things you can do. Control your light intensity if you can. So turn the light intensity down, light duration. So if you got those bad boys on for 9, 10, 12 hours a day, shorten it up by a couple hours. Check your nitrate concentrations. Are you doing liquid fertilizers? A little squirt. Cut back on that potentially, especially if your nitrates are like, oh, I've got 30, 40, 50 parts per million. We want to try to get that down, especially if you've got an algae issue. Try to bring that down to 20 to 25 max, right? Like right before you do a water change, it shouldn't be going much higher than 20 to 25 parts per million. There are lots of organisms that will eat algae, but the type of algae is going to be the determining factor on what you pick. So you have a mono shrimp, you have mystery snails, you have Florida flagfish, you've got bristlenose plecos, you've got otocinclus. There's a lot of different fish and organisms that can eat algae. Siamese algae eaters for blackbeard. So, but I would definitely watch that video because I get very specific into the types of algae and how to get rid of it. What say you?
Planted Tank said, Jason's shirt was all black with no designs. You will only see his head. His torso blends in with the background. I love it.
I know. Every time I wear a black shirt when we're doing a live stream, it's like, if
oh
I
my
could just
gosh, it's a floating head.
I can't do it. Yeah, there have been times where I've done videos, like just regular videos, especially when we had the old side of the fish room, when this used to be that. And it was very dark. Like the stands were all black and everything, and the walls were darker. And sometimes it did look just like, oh, there's the floating head talking about fish again. I would go through and edit. I'm like, what am I doing?
Oh, boy.
Crazy stuff.
Crazy.
George says, hello, how goes it? It's going well. Hope you're doing well as well. Well,
Howdy.
Oh, here we go. Ann says, is it okay to remineralize RO water for shrimp with Fritz Cichlid salt and equilibrium? Or is there a reason it's necessary to use shrimp-specific salts? Alas, I am no chemist. I would highly prefer the salts and the GH and KH boosters that are shrimp-specific. That way you know that you're getting only the things you need. Now, will the Fritz salt and equilibrium... So first of all, I don't use equilibrium at all, so I can't comment on that. The Fritz salts... Probably they're fine. I would say that they're fine. So the Fritz salt will raise it's got directions on there. I don't remember exactly what they are because I generally don't use it. It's good stuff. Might actually be easier to use than some of the other products where it tells you, okay, add this amount to your tank to get so much in a GH and KH increase. Last week, I don't have the bottles in front of me. Last week I talked about the shrimply stuff from Flip Aquatics, where it's a liquid additive where you can raise your GH and KH, and again, it tells you exactly how much to add to get like 2 squirts for 1 degree or 1 squirt for 2 degrees of increase in GH and KH. But yeah, you definitely want to do that. Some remineralization for your shrimp if you're using RO, but I don't know about the equilibrium, and I would think the Fritz, that powder stuff is fine. Cody says, I will say my rainbow shark definitely runs the tank. Oh, yeah. Yeah, those bad boys, they're no joke. Shirley, thank you very much for the super chat. I appreciate it. Thank you. Steven says, I tried to verbally abuse my algae. Well, we all tried that at first. And then the algae just kind of looks at us. And
I think it really just feeds off of that.
The algae, I think that is actually nitrates and verbal abuse are two things that encourage algae to grow. So we might have actually been doing the exact wrong thing. And if we just played music for it, maybe it would just go away.
Danny asks, how many barbs would you recommend in a 75-gallon and in a 125?
Oh, that's cool. Depends on the barb. If it's a tinfoil barb, 0. In the 125, you could probably do, I don't know, 4 or so. But boy, that would look crowded. Those bad boys get big. So let's assume we're not talking about like the tinfoil barbs. If we're talking about tiger barb type barbs. So 75-gallon, 15 to 20, a 125, 20 to 25 maybe. If you're doing something like the snakeskin barb, where I just did that species profile, the awesome fish that's back here, That's a 125. I've got a dozen in there. I could easily do 2 dozen, 25 to 30, if not more. They don't get as big as a tiger barb. Your melon barbs, super active. Again, 75 gallon, easily 15 to 20. A 125, again, 20 to 30. So if they're about that size, I would stay around those quantities. If you're starting to get into like the mascara barb, those get pretty big. So maybe 5 or 6 in a 75. If you got a 125, I don't know if I would do more than 8 to 10 because they're a much larger fish. Consanity, appreciate the super chat. Thank you. Is there a certain battery operated air pump to last 4 hours that you suggest? I am not a good person to ask about that because I don't use them, because we have the one central air pump that supplies air to, supplies air to.
God.
And he beat up his wife.
I'm awake now.
Wait, there's our thumbnail. And you're laughing, right? Yeah.
I hate them.
You can take a screenshot of that and be like, he beats his wife, man. Don't watch.
You'd be like, oh, we saw that.
Yeah.
That's
It'll be the most
clickbait.
controversial thing. Yeah. Yeah. That would have been funny if like your hair, like we had a fan and like we do this and your hair just goes shh, like that. You're like, oh. Yeah. Ow. There's another screenshot. Oh, you looked at me like you just punched me too. So anyway, this is what you get with me after talking for 8 hours, man. My brain is fried. John forced me to think, and then the last video we did, which is going to be super awesome, was the one I had to think about the most because he was coming at me hardcore
Really?
for 2 hours, and I had to expend all my energy, and now you're getting what's left over, which is basically a spaghetti noodle inside of a skull. So that's my brain. Anyway, if anybody has any great suggestions for Finsanity, a good air pump for a single tank, because we've got the central air system. If that goes down, I've got to figure out a way to get that up and running so that I can power all 30 tanks that are on air right now. So yeah, that's how I would roll with that. All right, hold on, let me scroll on down. Dave, thank you, appreciate the super chat. How do I get rid of female peacocks after they grow out? Yeah, good luck. That's Dave, that's the problem. One of the ways that you can try, I mean, if you felt like shipping them, I don't know how grown out they are. I mean, if you waited till they're 3 or 4 inches, it would be really hard to ship them. But you could try selling the peacocks as a breeding group, not a proven breeding group, because you don't want to misinterpret or represent what they are. But I know for us, the local fish clubs, if you have a fully colored up male and you throw 4 or 5 females in there, you can say, hey, here's a potential breeding group. If you've got a proven group, those can actually be worth some money. So sometimes, although I don't know how interested pet stores are with that, but you could say, hey, do you want a breeding group of, I don't know, Eureka Reds or, I don't know, Electric Blue Ollies or something like that. So other than that, they're just, you can't sell them. I mean, most people are not going to buy female peacocks because they're all gray or brown or tan or silver. But I would sell them as a group, a breeding group, potential. Yeah, nobody wants them. Local fish store, friends, Facebook. Yeah, it's just, it's going to sound bad. But a lot of African cichlid breeders, especially those that breed peacock cichlids, often keep large predatory fish in their fish room because you can kind of sort of tell. You got to be quick with it because some of the peacocks will, the red empress they take forever, but some of these smaller peacocks, by the time they reach a couple inches, they're starting to color up. Remove that one. The next male, the dominant male, he'll start to color up, usually within like hours. Boom, and you just keep removing the ones that color up, and then hopefully they're still small enough where if you've got large fish, you can't have a lot of hiding places in these tanks that are going to be basically live fish food. I mean, I'm not into that. I don't like doing it, but fortunately, that's what a lot of people do.
Call me Pancake. Yes. My GH and KH are off the charts. Will shrimp survive or should I not waste my money?
I would not waste your money on the Caridina. The Neo Caridina will, well, if they're off the charts, even that can be a little bit tough, but you do have options depending on the size of the tank that you're going to be doing. So, I mean, if you had a 2.5 gallon, 5 gallon, 10 gallon, you could go to the store and buy RO water and then cut your tap water with RO. I wouldn't go straight RO, but do some testing. Maybe get a gallon of RO and maybe use a gallon of your tap water, mix them together and say, okay, if this is a 50-50 mix, where's my GH and KH now? Where's my pH? If you're all of a sudden you're like, oh, it's not off the charts anymore, it's 12 degrees, you're like, all right, well, now I'm getting into the land of the neocaridina, it will live just fine. And maybe it's like, oh, I got to do 60% RO to 40% tap. If you're doing small volumes, you can just buy the stuff at the store. If you've got a large tank, a 40 breeder, even a 20 gallon, maybe an RO unit would be the way to go, but you still don't have to go straight RO, or wouldn't go straight RO. You might cut your tap water with the RO, or like we were talking earlier, just go straight RO and then have to remineralize. Then you could do the caridina as well.
From NBA Edits, let's see. In a 10-gallon river aquascape, cool. Can I keep Borneo suckers, white cloud minnows, nearite snails, a mono shrimp? Could I also add a freshwater goby, like red lip? Is that the lipstick goby?
Yep.
Or Stiphodon goby?
Stiphodons, they're small. Yep. So I don't really see too many problems with the Borneo sucker. Might be in the end might get a little large for a 10 gallon, especially with those other inhabitants. So might hold off on that. The shrimp are fine. Nearite snails fine, as long as the shrimp have somewhere to go. So if it's a river, if you're actually going to have some flow in there, I would want some space where the shrimp are not like having to always cling to life and exhaust themselves. White clouds are perfectly acceptable in a 10 gallon. I like the idea. What was the other? The gobies. Yeah, the Stiphodon gobies, they stay small. The lipstick gobies aren't very large and they're not super active. They're just going to sit there and be like, this flow is great. So the Rhinogobius are, which I think that's what the lipstick gobies are. They're a species of Rhinogobius. Mm-hmm. We had Rhinogobius henechuensis. That was a great fish. We had those in a big old. We had them in a 10 gallon, a pile of them. They would form piles. But yeah, that's a pretty cool mix.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you're going cooler water. Nearite snails, totally fine. Sounds like you're going cooler water with that. So yeah, that would work.
I wonder if is it a bookshelf tank?
That would be a completely different story. Then
if it's a river scape, I'm wondering.
Yeah, I was just assuming it was a standard 10, but if it was if it was a bookshelf tank, then a 10 gallon bookshelf tank is going to be like 30 inches long. So that would be perfectly fine. All those fish at that point. Michelle says, where are you at, Michelle? What do you think about the 5-banded barb? I mistake them for the snakeskin barbs. 5-banded barbs are amazing. And we had a bunch of them. They are very chilled out fish, almost see-through. They're almost like a glass sort of barb. Not super active. They just kind of hang out with one another. And I found them to be model citizens for an aquarium. Absolutely.
Oink asks, ever seen an angel that won't grow past 3 inches wide and 5 inches tall? My very happy, healthy, not bullied Petco girl has been in the 45-gallon hex for a year and a half, but hasn't grown at all.
Angelfish will grow very slowly. And just because a year and a half is actually not that long for an angelfish, they are a fish that grows slowly but steadily over time. So those really, usually the really majestic, large angelfish that you see are actually pretty old. I mean, and eventually they start to get a little gnarly, like they get the hump on their head, maybe a little bent. The fins get a little gnarly too, but give that angelfish 4, 5, 6 years and there's definitely a potential for it to grow considerably larger. Blake, thank you very much for the super chat. In a 55-gallon with 12 black neons, 5 cories, 6 turquoise rainbows, an odo, 1 bristlenose, and 2 koi angels, how many cherry barbs can I add, and a good ratio of males to females? Cherry barbs are perfectly fine. 55-gallon is plenty of space. Just want to make sure that when you get the cherry barbs, don't do what a lot of people do, including myself, is you go to the pet store, you don't realize how big your angels are relative to the smaller new fish that you're bringing in. Yeah, just make sure they're not so small that they're going to get eaten. But outside of that, you could probably do a dozen in a 55 safely ratio. If you did a dozen, I might do 1 male to 3 to 4 females, because the females still look nice, right? The males, of course, are going to get that super, super, super dark red, but the females get a nice red color too. So maybe 3 or 4 females and the balance of the dozen. I'm sorry, 3 or 4 males and the balance would be females. That'd be cool.
Sky Elizabeth says, is Joanna going to do a Betta video after visiting the Prism Betta's booth at Aquashella?
Nice.
I've said on a number of occasions that I am very sad that I do not currently have a Betta. And Prism Bettas would be the
We
place.
could change that. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because we're getting ready. You're getting ready to do a number of updates in the tanks
Yes.
upstairs because we still have 2, 4. How many tanks do we have up there?
I've
Is it just
got
4?
I've got
I feel like
2
there's another one I'm missing.
like that are filled with water right now.
We have 4 that are filled with water, and
Right.
you still have a couple, at least a few, that are in the bullpen getting ready to.
In the bullpen.
They're getting warmed
yeah.
up. So, how you
Yeah.
would go through all those tanks and not have at least one Betta?
I know it's not right.
I would
I
be
don't feel
surprised if
complete
that
right
happens.
now without having a Betta buddy.
Yeah, because you always had one.
Always, it was my coworker.
Yep. It was your coworker,
Mm-hmm.
and mine too for a little bit of time.
That's true.
Her 209 says, I recently had a really bad brown algae outbreak that covered every surface in the tank. A handful of pest snails made quick work of the algae. Very impressed.
Oh.
Yeah, it's cool. I had a
Cool.
big time, just a diatom algae in this tank over here. My yellow lab tank, I actually added 2 bristlenose plecos. I mean, that stuff will cover everything. People freak out about it, but it's actually the easiest algae to deal with. So if I had to wish algae on myself, it would be that brown diatom algae, because it happens a lot with newer tanks, and that's one of the reasons why it was a newer tank. But it grows really fast. It covers everything. It covers your decorations, your plants, all the glass, all the stuff. And you're like, oh my gosh, it's going to last forever. But you throw in half a dozen mystery snails. For me, I just threw in a couple bristlenose, and literally within 36 hours, there wasn't a single spot. So don't freak out with the diatom algae. It's the easiest one, in my opinion, to get rid of.
Oh, Zen Ginger's here.
What's up? What's up?
Hey, Zen.
Oh, I'll read it. I think
all
the
right.
female cherry barbs are very pretty and more defined line, absolutely. And the two-tone are gorgeous mixed in with the solid red males. I agree.
I concur.
I had at one point in our 55-gallon, when it was the fish room, at one point I think I had all female cherry barbs, and I was not sad by that at all. Marvin says, how do I enter the giveaway? Unfortunately, Marvin, the giveaway happened about 30 minutes ago. So for next time, right? So just for next time, we do the giveaway usually sometime between, the start of the live stream is at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, usually within the first hour. We do the giveaway, and then it's a live thing. So just be here, and we give instructions for the giveaway right before it happens.
That was deep.
I know it is. Anna says, oops, why is this not working? Anna says, I moved my rescued Betta to a 10-gallon. It would stay in the corner all the time. After 2 weeks, I put it back in the 2.5-gallon QT, and it's happy, making bubble nests. Should I try to or leave them? You can leave them, right? That was one of the things that I talked about when I did the Betta Care video. I said the minimum size is 2.5 gallon. A lot of people freaked out about that. And ideally, maybe a 5 gallon is a better size, but there are plenty of Bettas that like that cozier atmosphere. Bettas have different personalities. Some of them are really active. And so if you see a Betta that is constantly on the move, and a 2.5 gallon might feel a little cramped for that fish. But there are some Bettas that they're not sick, they're not old, they're not like, oh my gosh, there's something wrong. But there are certain Bettas that just like to hang out.
Yeah.
And you've had them. In fact, the coworker that you're talking about, was that tank a 5 or an 8 gallon? I don't remember.
A 5.
It was a 5. And one of the Bettas, I remember, it didn't really swim around all that much. It would just kind of look at you. It would interact.
just
With great personality, but just like kind of stare at you. You never saw it like darting around the tank back and forth, but we've had Bettas where it was constantly just boom, back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah.
It's like it was swimming laps. Even with those long fins, those ones could use a larger tank. So I wouldn't necessarily feel bad about putting them back in the 2.5 where it was comfortable. You could try it again later, and if you get the same result, put it back.
Yeah.
Dave M, super sticker, thank you so much. A pink ice cream cone. I see it on this part. That's kind of funny. Thank you.
Aw.
There it just says like the words, like what it is.
Now it's in your head
But
again.
in there-
Ice cream.
It is actually, I'm not going to lie. And it's probably in my head stronger now than it was last week. Also, not going to lie, bro. You know, when you say I'm not going to lie, that means you lie all the other times. I know, I did.
It's just a catchy phrase.
Yeah. Ann says, I tried him in a 5 and he was not happy. I know. I get it. I really do.
Yeah.
Oink says, may I ask how my shrimp is hanging on to my pink ram's horn that is currently skimming the water, surfing upside down? That is the beauty for people who have not kept snails and shrimp, especially together. I don't think people understand how comical they can be. When
like
you find
sitcom.
Sometimes you'll have mystery snails, especially, that will ride the backs of other mystery snails, use that mystery snail to go all the way up to the top of the tank. They get there, and then they just and they float all the way down. Shrimp will do that on the backs of mystery snails. And you would think
plants.
on plants, yep. Oh yeah, we had the shrimp that was riding the broken leaf or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, so are they done? Nope. That snail just goes right back to the top and does it all again. They must get some kind of like a joyful experience out of that.
So you do have your shrimp now. How's it? I'm curious. What kind do you have, Oink? What color? And how's it working? And what size tank? I'm just dying to know. And is anybody else in there? Tell us about your shrimp situation.
Cody, thank you very much for being a member the last half of a year. Do you have any videos on African banded barbs? I just bought 5 of them. They are so cool. I don't have any videos. I 100% agree with you. The African banded barb is a cool fish. I would say it's not quite as finippy as the tiger barbs, but still has a tendency to do that. I would place them somewhere between a tiger barb and the snakeskin barb, where the snakeskin barb is just, they're not rough on one another at all. They tolerate other fish really well. If I had to trust a barb around a veil-tail angel, that would probably be the barb, other than a cherry barb, but I would probably trust that barb the most. Where the African banded barb, I'd be like, you're probably going to maybe take advantage of the longer fin fish, but they still tolerate one another pretty well, and they are very cool fish. All right, hold on a second here. I saw Mr. Resistance. Hello. What's up? Dave M says, I'm going to jump on the laptop and maybe figure this out. Yeah, I saw some conversations going back about maybe being a prime timer. It's the weirdest thing. Like I always say, I have contacted YouTube reps forever because on mobile, I never see that join button for our channel. I see it on others, never mind. Even when I go to other accounts, look at other people's phones. Desktop always has it. Laptops probably will. I do. Oh, I didn't
have
link
it. Do I have it? If I actually
No,
wanted to
you
join
don't.
to see a video, I can't.
actually didn't link
I don't
it
have
today. Usually in the live streams, I link like how to become a member, but I forgot to do it today. I'm sorry.
Way to go.
Yeah, I'm just failing at my job. Horribly. All right, hold on. Oh, here's a good one. Louise says, should I use any fertilizers or anything for growing water sprite or Java fern? If you've got an average stocked tank, I generally don't. The Java fern isn't going to take from, it's not really going to exploit the substrate a lot. Water sprite doesn't at all. So if you're getting decent growth, nothing's dying back, you've got a decent number of fish in the tank. Like I said, I just don't use liquid fertilizers all that much. I don't find them necessary for the fish that we keep. Yeah, Don and Sharon says, I don't have it on my phone, but on the computer. Yeah, it's always on a regular desktop computer, but the phones can be hit or miss, and I don't know what the deal is with that. It's very annoying. Evan C., thank you for being a prime timer the last year. We appreciate it. Thoughts on glass cats, X-ray tetras, humphead glass tetras, and a 46 hex? Yeah. None of those fish get overly huge. If we're talking about the standard humphead, not the big ones, like those, I don't remember, are they the Indian glass humpheads? There's 2 different types of humphead glass. Oh, you said humphead tetras. There's one that's a bigger fish that I would never put in a 46 because they get like this big. But the glass cats would be fine. When they get active, usually it's for short bursts. We have a group of 7 in our 125. Absolutely love them. X-ray tetras. Oh, wow, I'm losing it now. X-ray tetra is totally fine. As long as the humpheads are the smaller ones and not those ones that get like 4 or 5 inches, those would be pretty cool too. That'd be an interesting tank. We thought about doing that at one point, doing like the ghost tank, where it's all fish that you can see through.
Clear fish.
Take a look too if you're interested in that kind of a look. Those 8 banded barbs that we were just talking about, that is a very transparent looking fish as well. You could also do with that, well, maybe not with that mix. I was going to say like a mono shrimp or ghost shrimp or something, but you might get some predation there with that mix. All right, we got time for a few more questions, I would believe. My voice, man, it is going.
It's fried. Wait, I just lost.
ZX9R says, can we have an add-on on what prime timer is? So prime timers are just the name that we call it, the prime time members.
One of the names.
One of the names. Prime timers, primates, prime time partners. Yeah, that's just like the group of people who subscribe or they're members of the channel. We do a video. They actually have a role. I actually rely on them probably more than they realize. When we're talking about options for fish tank stocking, they have an active role in what happens in this channel. I think some of them have been around long enough to be like, oh yeah, there's been some things said, comments that I've received from our prime timers that have kind of directed some of the things that we do, where I'm on the fence about certain things or what should I do. I do quite a number of videos where the prime timers, yeah, they help make decisions about stocking options, about certain tanks. I bounce ideas off of them. Yeah, they get a little bit of behind the scenes of the fish room, what's going on, the fish that we bring in, that kind of thing. But everything else is free to everybody. You know, the weekly videos and the live streams and all that stuff.
And the beard.
And yeah.
Oink. All right. So Oink says, in the white sand planted 5-gallon shrimp tank. Oh, beautiful. Nice. I have a mix of colors with only pink ram's horns. It's like an aquatic amusement park.
Yeah. It sure would be.
How can these teeny creatures be so nonstop hilarious? I don't know. But you know what? They pack a punch.
They absolutely do.
They're adorable.
Mr. Resistance says, one of my blue dreams are buried. It's been less than a month with 20 in my 30-gallon. Any precautions I should take? No predators are in there with them. All fish, for the most part, except for like the tiniest of rasboras, could be potential predators to shrimplets. They are absolutely minuscule to the point where, at least for me, they're hard to see. So any fish in the tank may start to pick them off as fish food. So if you don't have any fish in the tank, there's nothing special to do. You'll eventually see these little, almost translucent, white-ish little specks. And those are your babies, and they're tiny, so they're not going to eat a lot. I mean, shrimp are just constantly grazing. If you've got Java moss in there, and even if you've got smaller fish, if you've got plenty of Java moss or Java fern, a cholla wood, places where they can retreat to, you're going to have some survival, but just not maximum. I don't feed them they don't need to eat anything differently. So if I throw a kelp wafer in there, a Northfin wafer, or some pellets or whatever, then they just eat whatever everybody else is eating. But really easy, generally speaking, to keep alive. You just got to be a little careful with the water changes. So when you're doing gravel vacs or siphoning, just make sure you're not sucking anybody up.
That's right.
Yeah.
And fun fact, really tiny fish, Heterandur formosa, 7th smallest freshwater fish, they are micro predators, and they will eat your shrimplets, believe it or not. They are actually kind of stinkers with each other. They can be kind of a bunch of little meanies. So just a fun fact. Tiny fish, eat your shrimp.
Natalie and Dave, thank you so much for being prime timers. Really appreciate it. Welcome. Glad you're here. Glad you're here. Where did I see? Oh, here we go. Lee says, tetras for warm water. It's a ram tank. Most tetras are going to be okay, especially your cardinals, your rummy nose, your standard neons. Those are probably the 3 main ones that I can think of offhand that would be just fine in a ram tank. You see a lot of those with discus, same reason why. The discus species profile I did had, what did it have? There was more than that. There were cardinal tetras, there were rummy nose, but there were a couple other, the black skirt tetras were in there. They seem to do just fine as well. White skirt, black skirt tetras. Yep. All right, I saw lemon tetra, second floor, yep. Jack says, can I put cycled media or cycled water and marine land aquarium bacteria? So here's what I would do. If you've got cycled media, that's really all you need. You don't need anything else. The water is not going to contribute anything. So the only thing the water contributes is nitrate, which you don't want in a tank. So the beneficial bacteria are connected to surfaces. So they're going to be connected to rocks and wood and your decorations and the top part of your substrate, possibly the glass, obviously your filter media, but it's not in the water. So, I mean, I guess there could be some small, tiny amount of bacteria that might momentarily break off, but it's not significant, not worth even worrying about. But put the cycled media in and you're going to be fine. Marineland aquarium bacteria I haven't used. We use exclusively Fritz Lime 7. We're sponsored by Fritz. The stuff always works. I honestly didn't even know that Marineland had made a Now, if it's true, live nitrifying bacteria can certainly help. But historically, and again, it might just me being out of the loop on that particular product, but it was always just like the quick start stuff, which didn't have any nitrifying bacteria. Oh, here we go. Freshwater focus. Best 5-gallon fish, making a mini fish tank room, and I have 2 10-gallon tanks, and I'm going to have 2 5-gallon tanks. Need suggestions from someone I can trust. Chat can help me. Okay, so 5-gallon. First of all, we did a 5-gallon stocking ideas video. A Betta, certainly with some type of a snail would work as a combo. Fish-wise, the Heteroandra formosa, the least Florida killifish would be an option. You could do a shrimp and snails if you wanted to.
You could do the little chilies or dwarf or Mira rasboras.
Yeah, we like to recommend those because they stay small and you could easily
Very
do
tiny.
8 to 10 and it wouldn't look like, oh my gosh, I just overstocked this 5-gallon, because those are really, really small fish. So yeah, those would work just fine. Offhand, I would think that those are probably the best suggestions. But check out that 5-gallon video we did.
What about the 2 10 gallons?
Well, I didn't ask about the 2 10-gallons. You said best 5. But 10 gallons, all those fish. I mean, there's a ton. Check out that 10-gallon video. I mean, you've got
So
a
many
lot of
yummy
options.
options.
Yes, a lot of the small tetras as well. Yeah. All right, everybody. I think we're going to call it a night because, man, my voice, it really is shot. It's hanging on by a thread.
Poor
I feel like
kid.
if I go even 5 more minutes at some point, it's just going to either give out or I'm going to go into a coughing fit just because can't talk, man. But we are going to be back. It's going to be the live stream right before Aquashella. So next Wednesday, same time, same place. Thank you so much to our moderators for all the super chats, for all the new prime timers that came in, for all the great questions, for everybody who played in the giveaway. But yeah, we'll be back next Wednesday, same time, same place. If you had questions that didn't get answered, write them down. Keep them on a little Post-it note or in a little notebook. Bring them back to you. Bring them back to us next Wednesday. We'll try to answer as many as we can once again. But thank you. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. And y'all have a good week. Night-night, everybody.
Night.
Bye-bye. Or good day, depending on where you are on Earth.
Good morning.